Climate change is one of the greatest challenges of our times. We know that clean technologies can help address this challenge, and in particular, they help to facilitate our economies to transition towards a sustainable mode of production and consumption. At the same time, we know that the next technological revolution will be mainly driven by digital and green technologies. So countries that are at the forefront in developing these technologies might accrue most of the economic benefits and dominate this upcoming technological revolution. But who are these countries? Who are the leaders and the followers in green technologies? And in particular, and more importantly, under which conditions latecomer countries can catch up with leaders? These are some of the questions we would like to address in this work. So in this work, we examined the dynamics of leadership change and catching up in climate change mitigation technologies. These are the technologies that are aimed at reducing greenhouse gases. In particular, we focus on technological regimes and how these learning environment affect country growth in green patenting in both advanced and emerging economies. Using USPTO patent data for the period 1975-2015, we test the impact of the different dimensions of the technological regimes on green patenting at country level. For technological regimes, we use the typical variable produced by the literature. So for example, we focus on technological opportunities, technological cumulativeness, life cycle, stock of knowledge, and among others. What we first find is that the dynamic analysis is important to show changes over time of the behavior of technological regimes. While so far technological regimes have been considered static, in our analysis we observe even radical changes over time. So for example, in the year 2000, all the dimensions of the technological regimes change, and this is a clear turning point, which might be related to changing relevance of the different technological domains, but also, and perhaps more importantly, to policy shift, like the introduction of feed-in tariff regimes in many European countries, or the ratification of international treaties like the Kyoto Protocol. When we focus on the impact of technological regimes on green patenting, we observe typical dynamics which can be found in the literature. So for example, technological opportunities, when they grow, are generally associated with higher patenting. Similarly, we observe that cumulatives might prevent and affect in a negative way the growth in green patenting. So this is true also for green patenting, as it is more in general for innovation. However, the dynamic analysis also show there are changes over time. So for example, the stock of knowledge generally help and favor green patenting in the initial stages of development of the technology, while after a while there is a negative impact at the later stages of development of these technologies. When we shift our attention to countries, what we observe is a typical catching up process. In particular, we have a group of successful latecomers, namely China, Taiwan, and South Korea, which do not only catch up with leaders, but in specific subdomains of technologies, they are also able to leapfrog those leaders in a rather short time period. One general implication of our work is that the emergence and growth of green technologies provides latecomer countries with unique opportunities for catching up. And this is important because green technologies are really at the core of many countries' green growth strategies. Our work also confirms that innovation policies should pay greater attention to the specific learning and knowledge context that characterize an industry. And this is especially important because these policies are aimed at supporting domestic firms' capabilities in uncertain and emerging technological and scientific fields like those related to green technologies. Another implication is also that supply-side factors, like those related to technological regimes, are strongly intertwined with demand-side factors. So strategy aimed at developing green technologies should take this into account and carefully coordinate policies that support both sides. Finally, from our research, we get a clear indication that policies need to be flexible, adaptive, and responsive. In fact, the knowledge environment evolves over time, and it does so in different directions. So this calls also for different type of policy support.